Do you get pleasure from pain?
I get pleasure from purpose. Is there a purpose without pain in it? I get pleasure from pride. Is there pride without pain involved? I mean, if you avoid pain, you avoid everything important. You avoid all risk, right? And risk is a prerequisite to significance. So I don't think I get pleasure from the pain itself, unless I know that the pain is guiding me towards where I need to go. If you're in a video game and you're walking down the hallway and there's nothing in the way, you're like, what's going on? But if you're walking down the hallway and there's all the bad guys, you're like, I'm getting there. So maybe the pain, maybe the problems, maybe all the, stress, that's the indicators I need to keep me motivated. If it was too easy, I'm sure if I was only talking about flat earth, I never would have gone to jail. But the fact I'm talking about other things, I ended up in jail, kind of indicates to me that I'm close enough to the mark. So I wouldn't say I get pleasure from pain, but I certainly get pleasure from importance and being proud of myself. And if you want to be proud of yourself and you want to be important and you want to do significant things and you want to matter in this world, then pain is a huge part of it. So why not become accustomed to something that is unavoidable? If war is forever, get good at fighting. Some things are unavoidable. Pain in life is very unavoidable. That's why I find it amazing that people have such a problem with it or struggle with it. Like you are either going to die before everyone you love gets to see you at your maturest, or everyone you love is going to die. Everyone you've ever cared about is going to die. Like my strongest bond is with my brother. My worst nightmare is coming. One of us dies. 100% that'll be the worst day of either of our lives, the day that happens. It is 100% guaranteed to happen. We talk about it because we know it's coming. My children are going to see me die, or I'm going to see them die. Like all the bad days are coming. Guaranteed. They're written. That's what's amazing to me when people are sitting around like, oh, I don't want to be stressed. I can't deal with pain. But it's guaranteed. If it's guaranteed, why not become comfortable with it? So why do I smile with the idea of being in pain? Because I'm going to be in pain my entire life. So I may as well get good at it. I may as well get used to it. How pathetic would it be to try and go through life trying not to feel sad? Imagine how infantile and pathetic and asinine a decision that is. I don't want to be sad in my life, knowing that you're guaranteed to be sad pretty much at least 30% of the time. You're trying to avoid the unavoidable. It's like an ostrich putting its head in the sand. It's pathetic. I think that's a better way. Instead of avoiding it, saying, well, it's going to happen, so let me get good at it. My life is at a very interesting juncture right now. I can either continue to be one of the most famous men on the planet and fade into lifestyle content and just enjoy my life and have a bunch of kids. I can run for political office and become one of the most important people on the planet politically. Or I can end up banged up for 20 years. I don't mind the last option. I'm not scared of it. I'm not worried about it because that's what life is. All great men are made of pain. If you imagine a man who has never had struggle in his life, it's impossible to envision him as anything other than incapable and incompetent. And even worse than incapable and competent, he's weak. And weak people betray. So he's dangerous. He's a liability. Men who have never struggled, you can't trust. Men who have never struggled, you shouldn't even be friends with. You shouldn't be business partners with them. Men who have never had to deal with any kind of hardship are toxic. They are dangerous. The best men on the planet are made of pain. Weak men create hard times. If you look at any kind of man of capability and stature, he's absolutely made of pain. This is why women love scars, because it shows that he's lived through something. So absolutely, I'm made of pain. All of my best lessons have come from a painful place. My life has been a painful life. I'm extremely grateful for that. I'm extremely blessed to have endured all of the difficult things I've endured, because what's worse than going through the things I've been through is going through nothing and being a limp-wristed piece of shit like all these other dudes out there. Thank God I am the man I am. I can't thank God enough for every bad thing that's ever happened to me. And the men who are not made of pain are the exact kind of man that everybody out there should avoid. I will tell you something about betrayal. I think more kings have lost their kingdoms to treacherous behavior and betrayal than they have to enemy action. I think it's the number one threat to any man of genuine competence in the world today. And I will say that weak people will always betray you in the end, even if they don't want to, because weak people simply do not have the capability to resist for long enough to avoid the betrayal. You have to understand very well, nearly everyone you protect and provide for has a limit to which they would eventually betray you. 99.9% of women will eventually betray you. And I'm not trying to be insulting to women. I'm not trying to be misogynistic. What I'm saying is that women cannot resist like a man can resist. If you put a woman in a room and tell her she does not leave that jail cell until she gives you up, she will give you up faster than your brother will. She can't take the pressure. She can't take the stress. She's too weak to take it. I'm not calling her a bad person. I'm not insulting her. This is the bottom line. She's just too weak. So when you look at things like betrayal, you have to analyze who betrayed you out of genuine malice and who betrayed you out of a lack of capability. If I'm holding your hand and I'm on the edge of a cliff and you're holding my hand and you hold as long as you can and your arm gives way and I die, is that betrayal or did you do your best? It's actually quite interesting when I analyze the times I was betrayed. Could these people have even done any better than they did? Which then makes you analyze the meta point of who's in your life in the first place and how capable are each of these individuals in certain scenarios. The next logical conclusion is, of course, not everybody you know can be a Spartan soldier from Planet Hero. So then what do you do with all the weak people in your life? Well, now you have to curate your relationships and your realities with them in a way that makes it very difficult for them to betray you. I've had girlfriends for 5 years who don't know my job. They don't know my address. They don't know where my property is located. They don't know anything about me. You can tie them to a chair and electrocute them all day long. They don't know anything to tell you. They know the color of my bedroom. That's it. They don't know anything about me that matters. Now, I'm not doing that to be a bad person. I'm doing that to protect them from betraying me. I take responsibility for the times I was betrayed. I don't blame the people who betrayed me. People can only do what they can do. And unfortunately, a lot of people are pretty shit at most things. A lot of people are very incompetent. People suck. So if I was betrayed by somebody, I don't blame them for the betrayal. I blame myself for putting them in a position where I expected more of them. If I put my knight on a square in the board and he gets trapped and dies, I blame myself. I don't blame the knight. These people couldn't have done any better. I have to be careful what I say because of my current legal predicaments and also certain things I don't want to share with the internet. There's been a whole bunch of times people have done it, but if I actually analyze the scenario in the story, I still have to truly blame myself, even if I wasn't to blame, because I have the most competitive mindset if I blame myself for it, because if everything's my fault, then I have all the control, which means I'm going to alter my actions going forward. If I don't have the control, if I say, oh, this person's a traitor and I did everything perfect, well, now I'm open to be betrayed again. If I say people can be treasonous in certain scenarios, how do I alter my relationships moving forward? I'm now harder to betray. So I don't really blame these people for doing what they did. But I will say there are certain warning signs that you can see in people that make it very easy to understand if they would betray you or not. If I'm with a guy and he complains he's hungry and there's no food, and I say, well, there's no food yet, we'll eat later. And then he spends the next 3 hours bitching about being hungry, I get a red flag. Bro, you ate this morning. It's 4 p.m. and all you're talking about is food. That's weakness. That signals to me I don't like it. If I see dudes who are desperate to get laid all the time, desperate for women, that's an even bigger warning sign. Because a starving man will do anything for food. A starving man will do anything if there's a buffet ahead of him. When men are desperate for women or desperate to get laid all the time, that's the guy who tries to talk to your ex. That's the guy who tries to talk to girls. That's those guys. I don't like those kind of people. Anyone who's desperate for anything, anyone who shows a lack of emotional regulation, anyone who shows a lack of physical control. I don't like fat people because they have no self-control. You have no self-control and you have no discipline. That's clear. You have no motivation, no determination. That's clear. You can't stop putting things in your mouth to live longer and be a respected member of society. So I don't like you. I'm sure there's lots of fat billionaires. That's fine. I'm not saying they can't be successful. I'm saying that if I have to create my reality, I would argue that if I had me and my 6 friends all in perfect physical condition and we had one really fat guy, I would argue the fat guy would break first. I would just argue he has less self-control. Of course, exceptions exist. But I'm just talking general because I'm general, right? I mean, everyone's guilty until proven innocent in the world. But when you're creating your friendship circle, I assume the worst about people until they prove otherwise, right? So if I meet a really obese guy and he proves to me that he's actually a serious soldier, then of course I will take it on board and learn. But my first impression is X, Y, Z. And he's given me that impression by his own decisions. So I would argue, like a man who's obese and physically unattractive, if my ex, who's a 10, were to come on to him primarily because she wants to upset me, he's more likely to betray me because he doesn't get attention from those kind of women, as opposed to a man who gets attention from those kind of women all the time. He's less likely to damage a friendship for something which is so common, because value is derived from scarcity. Yeah, betrayal is actually pretty easy to spot in advance if you understand the weakness and capability of the people around you. I'm in a fortunate situation because, yes, I can be betrayed, but also I'm very valuable to the people I know. I'm very valuable. Knowing Andrew Tate on a first name basis and being able to call his phone is an extremely valuable thing. You can make a lot of money, get a lot of status, great things happen. So people don't really want to betray me because they're going to lose a lot. But if you're a normal person, betraying you, they don't even lose anything. If you're a normal guy and your ex comes on to your friend, the reason your friend's going to fuck your ex is because that pussy's worth more than your friendship. You don't give him anything. You don't make any money with the guy. You can't tell him anything. You can't teach him anything. You're a dipshit. He's a dipshit. You sit around talking about football. You're both dipshits. And now some pussies appeared. So guess what? Just someone else will talk about football all day long and he can fuck the pussies. That's it. You know, I get this question all the time. I just want to segue. People say to me, you know, my friend slept with my ex. What should I do? And the answer is that you deserved it, because if you're hanging around with those kind of people, you're probably a fucking loser. So you're a loser who probably would have done it to him if you had the chance. Losers flock together. It's just loser life. This loser shit. None of my exes can talk to my friend. Like, you can't. She couldn't. It's impossible because I'm not a loser. But losers hang with losers and loser shit happens. I think that they let go of me as I was hanging off the edge of the cliff simply because our arm wasn't strong enough. And what I did once I hit the ground and bounced up with my masterful Aikido, because I cannot die, is start looking at the size and strength of people's arms for my future friendships. And like I said, I get mad from a place of love because I'm misunderstood. I get very mad at people who say they lack motivation. I get mad at them. When a man goes to me, I don't have motivation, part of me starts to dislike him because I feel like he's a fucking loser. And he has a duty to his bloodline and to the people around him to have as much money and capability as possible. Like I said, I was loved with discipline. That's why I talk the way I talk. If you lack motivation, then you're a loser. And I'm telling you because I care about you enough to try and make you be a better version of yourself. If I'm waking up every day with hundreds of millions of dollars concerned that I don't have enough money, power, and influence to take care of the people I love, you certainly should feel the fucking same. You should be trying anything it takes to try and win. Because how can you be so arrogant and so complacent to sit as the insignificant nobody you are with the no money that you have and believe that you've done enough for the people you love? If I don't believe I've done enough with my capability and my fiscal prowess, who the fuck are you as a nobody to sit there and go, I don't need to work any harder. I lack motivation. Because you're broken, unimportant, and stupid. And it angers me that you don't feel this duty to the universe and duty for the people you care about. I was not happy on the Bugatti day like the average dipshit is happy when they hear Dua Lipa repeat a song for the 55,000th fucking time. Because these people are low IQ losers. These people are idiots. And then they sit and wonder why they fail at life. You are being emotionally manipulated and becoming hyper excited about a song you have already heard because you're standing in a crowd amongst other peasants. You deserve to fucking fail. If I were to hire a member of staff and look on his Instagram and see him at a festival, I would instantly fire him. Because I know you're a loser. If I see a woman who I'm dating and I see her Instagram and see she's at a festival, I would dump her because I know she's a whore. What kind of woman wants to be surrounded by men like that? What kind of woman wants to be surrounded by thousands of sweaty men? It's disgusting. These people suck. They're scumbags. So when I collected the Bugatti, I felt less happy than most dipshits feel when they do dipshit shit. But I kind of feel like I deserve all the things I have. So it's not like, wow, look what I have. It's duh, of course. And that's a very important distinction. It's not, wow, oh my God, look what I've managed to achieve. It's, of course I have these things. Duh, I'm Andrew Tate. So of course I have a gold Bugatti and a purple Pagani Hura and a new Utopia getting delivered tomorrow and a Tiffany blue Jesco and 2 more Jescos no one even knows about. I'm not saying are mine so I can resell them at some point. And of course I have 100 million of property. Of course, I'm Andrew Tate, of course. It's not amazing because it's very much like, well, duh. It was, well, the Bugatti is the best car on the planet and I'm me. So of course I have it. Who would have one if not me? Who's better than I am? So it was just very much like, yeah. I mean, I collected the Bugatti and I drove it home. And I continued with my work.